Papers.
And we
Hear ye. All the judges in session for Sunday Papers. Big trial this week. We'll get into that later. We're also going to get into some Florida, some Texas. We're going to talk about maybe El Chapo if we get to it. We got a lot to get to.
Koozie update. We're going to talk about the roast, the Koozie update. What else are we talking about? Dickie Betts?
Dickie Betts. Yeah. It's so funny. We'll talk about it later, but somebody wrote, I was, listening to some of the posts, and then I looked at the comments, and so many of them said, this is so sad. And it's like, how is this fucking sad? When I think of Dickie Betts, I think of joy. I think of creativity. I think of what he's shared with people over all these years. It's not sad. He was 80 fucking years old. People are going to die.
All right. Well, I guess we'll all be joyful when Mrs. Fitzsimmons dies, because it was nothing but joy. Yeah, shots fired.
Shit.
Shots fired.
That was fucking harsh. My mother? Are you talking about my wife or my mother?
No, I wouldn't say. Your wife would be a tragedy.
That would be a tragedy. I sometimes think about.
Saying, of course, you could say that about any. Of course, it's sad also. Hold on. My mic technique is lacking. Keep going.
But what is the human experience that anytime, we all know how it ends. There is no exception to the rule. We're gonna die. Everybody we know is gonna die. Oh. And the people that we grew up adoring are more than likely gonna die before us. Is it sad? Why sad? Is it a big surprise?
It's sad for us.
Is he still playing? Was he still on tour?
No, he was kicked out of the Allmans in 2000 maybe or something like that. So he never played when they kept going around, with and they were still bringing it. And they were great shows, but he was kicked out, I think, for his drug and alcohol use maybe. But anyway, we'll get to him later. But yeah, of course it's sad. No, you know what it is? It's also nostalgic. It's also, it reminds us of our mortality, all the usual things.
God. But I embrace my mortality. I can't fucking wait.
No, like when Jagger dies or whoever, it's going to be sad.
Not for me.
Oh my God. Okay. You figured it out. Everyone's wrong.
I'm not. I just think I'm more Eastern. I like the Buddhists don't. The Buddhist Bible is called the Book of the Dead. It's about accepting death before you die, and then you can have peace in life.
I'm not that evolved. I'm going to be sad when these people die.
It's because you're just so unevolved, Mike.
I am unevolved. Death is daunting. I
think Irish people have a very limited emotional palette, and I think sadness and anger pretty much dominate the whole tray of colors.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think you might be a little right there. How was Mazatlan?
Mazatlan was amazing. I know that I haven't talked about it on Sunday Papers. I think I talked about it on my podcast a little bit, but just to give people the broad strokes, headed down. Owen had been in Central America for 6 months or 5 months, traveling around with his buddy Gabriel, who, if you had to pick somebody to travel with, this fucking kid, he was an Eagle Scout. He can make a fire with 2 sticks. He can pitch a tent. He traveled with a fishing pole, and he would get up. They'd be staying in some youth hostel on the beach on the central coast of Mexico. This kid would wake up at 6 a.m. He'd go down to the docks, and he'd find his way onto somebody's boat, and he would go out, and he would fish, and he would catch a bunch of fish, and he'd come back. He'd build a fire on the beach. He'd cook it for everybody. It was fucking unbelievable. And he's fluent in Spanish. He's an artist. He's a master guitar player. He is gorgeous. Black,
sounds
wavy.
Like it, Craig.
I'm just telling you, man. I traveled with Sneaky Pete cars when I went to Europe, and that kid was an introvert with acne. It was brutal.
So this kid dies. I bet you're sad. It's a tragedy, isn't it?
I don't care how old he is. It's a tragedy when this motherfucker dies.
Right.
But anyway, we went down. The eclipse was otherworldly. It was just like whatever you have to do to get to an eclipse. It happened, and everybody just got so emotional. One girl broke down. Owen had 12 friends down there. And one of the girls started sobbing, and she cried the entire 4 minutes that the sun was like that. Everybody else was jumping up and down, hugging. I couldn't stop smiling for 30 minutes. It was so intense. It was like the entire horizon, 360 degrees, all looked like there was a little glow of a sunset. It was like a sunset in all directions. And then we laid down. Yeah. And we played Dark Side of the Moon, and we all laid down on the sand together, in a row. And we had this crazy moon song list that I had put together. And, Dark Side of the Moon, Moon Dance, Moon Shadow, Fly Me to the Moon. Anyway, you get it. You had to be there.
You could have done sun songs also.
Like what?
Well, Here Comes the Sun. I mean, there's a million sun songs.
Here Comes the Sun King. You could just do Beatles sun songs.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I wonder what the earliest thinking was on what the hell was going on when it turned dark in the middle of the day.
Good Day Sunshine. I know. That was one of the things that made it so profound, is you couldn't not think about what this must have been like. And obviously why they sacrificed virgins, as opposed to now where you try to keep them alive, the virgins.
Yeah. Or goats, right?
Why get rid of the virgins? I mean, what have they done to anybody?
Also, a virgin goat is worth more than, I think, a goat that's been fucked a lot. Oh, should we not curse up top? Is there something about up top in the podcast?
Yeah, you're supposed to not curse for the first 8 minutes.
Oh, damn it. Maybe we could bleep that one.
Shoot. No,
Darn it all the heck.
Yeah, we don't do that well on YouTube because of our cursing. We don't
Let's
get in
clean
any
it up
kind of
up
algorithm.
Top.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I also want to announce that on May 8th, I will be running a 5K. Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer invited me to run a 5K with them. I don't know anything about the event, but it is part of the Netflix is a Joke Comedy Festival. So I don't know if we're supposed to be funny while we're running.
Yeah, well, I bet Bert won't have a shirt, I'm guessing.
I'm guessing I won't either.
Oh, wow.
Little teaser.
Three Bears, yeah. Or maybe you're the cave for the two bears.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of anal rape jokes happening so far in this podcast.
I
just said
right,
rape.
with the
That's
goat
bad.
and stuff?
Yeah.
Well, why did you assume it was a butthole on the goat?
Because it's my... That's true.
Yeah. You're dirty. That's disgusting.
Oh, and this race is at
It's
the
the
Rose
goat
Bowl.
vagina.
I guess Denman has found some information. It's at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to write any more here. Oh, here he is. Here's a little poster of it. Didn't come out right in the document. So we should celebrate that today. Oh, here it is. Two Bears committed to a 5K by May, and instead of running just any old 5K, they're running their own. Joined Bert, Tom, and many other celebrities on May 7th. Presented by Netflix as a joke, and brought to you by Por Osos. Good. I'm glad I'm promoting their whiskey. That's the important thing for me.
Wow.
Is it whiskey?
All right.
What do they sell?
Who, those guys?
Yeah.
They sell
got
everything.
They've got
I'm
a
not
liquor.
sure about the whiskey. Oh,
you
I don't
didn't
know
hear about this?
that yet.
Oh, no,
No,
it's huge. It's huge. It's a liquor they started selling about a month ago, Por Osos.
Oh.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
For bears?
For what?
I think Osos is bears.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. It's
Dos Osos?
Dos Osos.
That's a lot of
all
os.
participants not only get the opportunity to party with the Two Bears
vodka.
team, but also receive a finisher medal, beer, and T-shirt, unless you're Bert.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, today's 421. Yes. Oh, it's a vodka. Yesterday was 420. Although we're recording this on 420, so
I know.
It's actually today.
That's why I'm exhausted because, I mean, it's 420. From the second I wake up, it's all about celebrating Hitler's birthday. It's also that.
Can I tell you a joke I heard?
Sure. Oh, yeah. And then I've been
Did
on
I
the,
tell you? I
the
told
roast.
you this joke, right?
I don't know.
All right. So this guy walks into a little seedy bar outside of Buenos Aires in Argentina.
Oh.
And this is in the 1970s.
Specific, yeah.
So the guy walks into the bar,
Mm-hmm.
and he sees a little man at the end of the bar in the shadows drinking alone. So he goes over, pulls up a stool, and he goes, "How you doing, friend?" And he goes, "Wait a minute." He goes, "You look familiar." And the guy says, "No, I don't think so." He goes, No. Your profile, I'm looking into your eyes. I know you." He goes, "What's your name?" And he goes, "Adolf." He goes, "Hitler?" He goes, "Adolf Hitler, sitting in a little dive bar outside of Buenos Aires in Argentina in a dark shadow." And they go, "What are you doing over here?" "I have a new plan." "What's the new plan?" "It is much bigger than the old plan. This time we kill 12 million Jews and 4 rodeo clowns." And the guy goes, why 4 rodeo clowns?" "You see, nobody cares about the Jews." Have you heard that?
I think I heard it when it was 1. There was one weird thing.
Yeah.
I like 4.
4 is better.
Yeah. It's a good one. I like it. Classic.
Anyway, I don't know if it's Hitler's birthday. It actually is not. I looked it up. It's not his birthday. Oh, no.
What do you
No, people say it was Bob Marley's birthday, which it was not, but it was, in fact, Hitler's birthday.
Yeah.
The other theories are, I like
He's an
this
Aries
one.
on the cusp.
I like this one. It's a reference to Bob Dylan's song "Rainy Day Women" It's "Rainy Day Woman," isn't it? Number 12 and 35.
Women.
Is it women? Oh,
Yeah.
because 12 times 35 equals 420.
Oh, all right.
And the real theory that I've heard holds the most weight is that in the early 70s, 5 students at San Rafael High School in Marin County, where Dennis Gibbons is from, would meet outside the school at 420 and get baked, dude.
I never knew the origins of it. Wait, didn't I hear rumors like it was the criminal code?
Yeah.
Well, what is it?
It is the criminal code for pot, which means at some point there was a couple of stoners behind a dumpster getting high, and they're like, "Dude, 420 is the police code for a marijuana bust." "Yeah. You know what we should do?" "What?" "What?" Like, at some point, it took them a while to get organized.
You're a real method actor. You got baked there for a second.
Oh my God. I think the whole audience got baked. You just got baked.
That should be a game show. You just got baked.
I haven't smoked pot in about a month.
Did I? When did I? I don't know. Maybe last weekend. I've been working too much to get high. I'm tired in the morning when I do that.
Hey, Denman, I have a technical question. My recorder, my H6, the red time code is blinking about once every 4 seconds and then every 1 second. Any idea what that means? I have plenty of battery left. I have plenty of space on the SD card.
That 420 dumpster story might have worn it out.
Yeah.
It confused the recorder.
It was a lot. It was a lot for it to take on. He is checking. Okay, he'll get back to me on that. In the meantime, let's thank Jane S. for the logo this week. It's from Laugh-In. I loved that show, and this is a great piece of art.
Yep.
Jane actually did a series of logos for us, so we'll be rolling those out over the next couple months. She did a whole bunch, so thank you so much for that. The song, thank you, Snack. Is it Black Snack or Black Snake? I don't know if he wrote a typo, but
I'm guessing it's Black Snake, spelled S-N-A-K.
What did you think of this song?
I liked it a lot. You played it for me right before we started here.
I thought it was so rockin' cool. It was short. It was powerful, in and out. Loved it. Thank you so much.
Do you have to check your memory card?
Yeah, memory card
Chris
is
is
inserted
asking?
correctly. That's not the issue.
The counter is still going
It's definitely, yeah, it's recording. Corrections, we have...
Well, wait, before we get there, I want to run something by you. So I'm on this Tom Brady roast.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about the roast. You're the head writer on the Tom Brady roast on Netflix.
Yep, it's going to be live May 5th. And I can't really talk about, I think, Monday, tomorrow, they're going to release a lot, like who the host is and names. And I mean, I thought that was out there, but anyway, I don't want to.
We do know that Jeff Ross is a producer on it.
Oh, the roast master general. Yeah, he's going to be a big part of it. And so Tom Brady, I don't know if I could say anything beyond that. Anyway.
Well, good. I'm glad you brought it up.
No. I was going to, this is even more inappropriate. I was going to read you this small bit I wrote, but I don't think anyone will do it, but I want to take your temperature on it. So this is rough, but someone gets up there, right, and goes, it's called the great, Tom Brady's the GOAT. Yeah. And then they're calling this GROAT, the greatest roast of all time. But anyway, it's an honor to be here tonight to talk about the GOAT. What a legend. A California native who played for a college powerhouse that won the national title and bowl games. He went on to completely shatter records in the AFC East. He became a brand ambassador for countless products like beverages, sports gear, a clothing line, Hertz rental cars, and so many more. After he retired, he made the transition to NFL announcing and movies. He got really into golf. He became a resident of Florida. Sure, there were some accusations of foul play along the way, but he has denied all of it. Sadly, he became estranged from his wife, but make no mistake about it, he would do absolutely anything for his family. Anything. Of course, we are talking about Orenthal James Simpson. His roast was a few weeks ago.
Nice.
Dude, it's like that time I looked into the coincidences between Forrest Gump and The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, where I'm like, this can't be true.
Yeah.
By the way, and Hertz I saw is the one that gave it away for you, but also did some of his best playing, like, because Brady owned Buffalo. Like there's actually stats out there of how he just dominated Buffalo, which of course is a similarity between the two of them also of their best work in Buffalo. It's all of that is true.
Wait, Tom Brady was in Buffalo?
No, but he played his best. Like he completely schooled Buffalo.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And some people like he didn't win the national championship, but Tom Brady was on Michigan. He wasn't playing; he was backup, but they did win the national title, and he also won bowl games with them.
But also both very good-looking All-American figures, extremely well liked.
Yeah. Anyway, incredible the similarities.
Okay. Well,
so, all right, what do we got here? What's this note?
He's just telling me that they're going to check on my technical issue.
All right. Let's just go blindly forward.
Some corrections. Ryan in Chicago said, confronted by the cold, hard fact that Ryan White died from AIDS in 1990, Greg refuses to believe it. The problem here is Greg misheard that White was the first person to die of AIDS. He wasn't. He was a kid who died from a blood transfusion, which was a big deal because it showed that AIDS was not just a gay disease, as it was dismissed by the Reagan administration. It's sometimes shocking to me that Greg made it through college.
Wow. Wait, I'm not understanding what you said.
I guess I said that this was the first person to die of AIDS, and what Ryan is saying is, no, it was the first guy to not be gay to die of AIDS. Yeah, he would have been. Also, it's shocking to me that I made it through college without getting AIDS, by the way, because that was the height of AIDS, and I was a big You know how there's vax deniers? I was a condom denier in college. I must
You didn't
have
wear a mask. You didn't mask it.
I'll tell you what, if BU girls weren't so into abortion, I would have about 13 kids right now.
Okay, then.
EJ says the standard bet is 11 to win 10. So if you bet $110, you get $210 back if you win. There is no vig if you lose. You are just out your original bet. And Mike was right. If there is a tie, it is a push. Everyone gets their original money back. No vig.
There we go.
I always thought the tie went to the... I thought that's where
I know what you're thinking of. You're thinking of greens on the roulette wheel.
Right.
When
that.
you might do an odd or even or red and black, and then it comes up green, which you think should be a push, they keep it.
Right. Then Stave, I don't know if this is a typo, Stave or Steve Maawa. That sounds Japanese to me.
Oh.
In the obituary section for Joe Flaherty, it was mentioned that he was one of the McKenzie brothers in the Great White North sketch. Obviously, you guys are doing your best to come up on the fly, but
I went back and I listened.
It was Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas.
Stave's wrong. We started to talk about what a legendary show it was, and at one point I said, and we haven't even gotten to, because we had already started listing John Candy and all the characters.
Okay, good.
And I said we hadn't even gotten to the Great White North sketch because we hadn't mentioned those two guys. Thank you for being such a good listener, and I'm glad he knows SCTV so well.
Well, he's Japanese. He's not going to catch everything.
We're old. We would never put him in that sketch. We know it too well.
If you want to catch me, I will be in Carpinteria at the Alcazar Theater on May 3rd, and then
I like Carpinteria.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a cool little town. Great fish tacos on the wharf.
Oh.
Mamaroneck, New York, Emmeline Theater on May 31st, Escondido, California at the Grand Comedy Club June 7th and 8th, and then Pittsburgh at the WDVE Festival on June 21st. I'm going to be there with a few other good comics, Harlan Williams and Sarah Tiana, your friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah's on the roast right now.
Yep, she's one of the writers. Look, support for Sunday Papers comes from Game Time. It is, look, we all stress out when we want to go see a live event. And first of all, go see live events. Nothing brings more happiness than watching music, theater, comedy, sports. It's like you have memories from that. You don't have memories of a fucking dessert you got at TGI Fridays. Maybe you do. But you shouldn't have to worry about buying the tickets. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets. Last minute deals, all in prices, views from the seats. They've got a lowest price guarantee.
I'm
Mike's
up on it right now.
What's going on right now?
As I tell everybody, right, I love going. You can go under sports, music, shows. I go under Discover, that heading. And what do we got? We got Mets at Dodgers today, by the way.
No.
And it's a nice day here today. $36, and that's keep an eye on it. Wait till game time, as they say. We got the Mavericks at the Clippers tomorrow, Nuggets at Lakers, Oilers at Kings, and then we got Shakira coming up in November. I would wait till that drops.
November.
$494.
Wait a minute.
They give you things far out.
November. I can't even get dates booked further out than 3 weeks. What is she doing? I'm going to shake my ass.
Well, do you want tickets for Friday at Coachella? For $2,016 each.
Oh, my God.
What? I would wait on that till game time as well. So anyway, it's great. You get
also, did you notice the Stones on there? You can get Stones tickets for like $100 right now. Did you see that?
Let me put the Stones in here.
I'll talk about more while you do that. Save 60% off, buying last minute. And
$52.
$52 for the Stones.
Come on now. And I hear that Lady Gaga is joining them.
So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PAPERS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PAPERS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Yeah.
By the way, I used it to go see the symphony on Tuesday night. I just was looking at Game Time, and all of a sudden, $25 tickets to go to the Disney Hall and watch music.
You did that?
Yeah, we jumped on the train at Bergamot Station. Takes you
Good
a
for
block
you.
from Disney Hall. No changing. One train all the way through.
I gotta do that.
Took my girlfriend. Erin could not make it.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Couldn't get 3 tickets. Erin had a... Did you draw straws?
No. It was Tuesday night. Tuesday night is the night for the Goumon.
Date night? Yeah, date night. By the way, I picked this piece of paper up to crinkle, and it's the Oscar ballot. And with our memories, I think we could do it again, and it would be thrilling. I don't think we remember who won.
Yeah, I don't remember any of it.
Let's get to that front page. Here we go.
Extra! Extra! Read all about it! Extra!
Okay, then. We got the Oracle of Wall Street, the guy who predicted the 2008 financial crash. He says the rise in young, sexless men living with their parents will cause house prices to plunge 30%. The analyst predicted housing supply will ramp up.
What about sexless men living with their wives? How is that going to affect prices?
No effect.
Okay.
No effect on this earth. No effect on their life. It's just a non-existence that they're living. The analyst predicted housing supply will ramp up as the elderly relocate. Meanwhile, men disinterested in families will cause demand to fall, and single women now make up an increasing proportion of American home buyers.
Well, I've got a young sexless man living in my house, my son, and he is definitely bringing down the property value. He is just he just wears shit out. He doesn't fix anything. He stains the floor. He scratches things. Yeah, it's expensive. And he's on my fucking life insurance. He's on my car insurance. I'm paying for his cell phone. Bringing down my value.
I'm just terrified my daughters are going to identify as a sexless boy. I got to tell this. I got to get them out before that happens.
Yeah. New pickup lines for guys living at home. Can I get your Insta and move into that house you bought?
Exactly. On a good note, the sale of moisturizers and tissue, strong futures.
Yes.
Strong.
Take your money out of housing and put it into Kleenex and Jergens.
That's what I would do.
The man convicted and sentenced to death for carrying out the Boston Marathon bombing in 2013. I was there, by the way. I wasn't there for the bombing. I was there for the pursuit of the guy who did it. And I was in Boston doing shows. They canceled my shows. They literally shut down the city because these guys were on the run. It was the most insane overreaction I've ever seen in my life. So they're
overreaction.
He is
there
fighting
were terrorists in the city.
It's a big city.
No, but also Boston thought they might have been black.
Right. Boston's strong. We're strong.
Activate those cops.
If you're strong, keep the fucking Dunkin' Donuts open so I can eat. I was having to get room service at the hotel 3 meals a day for the weekend. Cost me a fortune.
Oh my God.
Anyway, the guy is fighting to keep federal prosecutors from seizing the funds he has accumulated in his prison canteen account.
What?
So Joe Card Sarnavi sounds like an entree at the Camouche Cafe on Lincoln. He's arguing the death row inmate is neither hoarding funds nor spending profligately. He got $26,000 in donations from various sources, including from strangers. He also got $1,400 COVID relief payment a few years ago. Wait a minute. They don't sell, by any chance, pressure cookers at the canteen, do they?
Greg, he needs money for his wedding. You know, all these guys in prison get married.
It's very romantic in there.
I think this is our thing. This is what we should start. We should start a dating app that's for men in prison and the ladies who want them. We'll call it Lockdown. Ladies, you want to lock it down with that special guy? Need something that brings all the boys to the yard? Want to find someone who can commit for life, who has his own place? Join Lockdown.
And also, if you have a fear of intimacy, ladies, click in the special button on the app, Guys on Death Row, short-term commitments.
Maybe it should, no, the dating app, we should call it conjugal visits. Conjugal.
Yeah, you want to get fucked hard. A guy who's in prison. And also, what's the theme for your new wedding? We're going the prison motif. Now that's every wedding. What's yours going to be?
What are you wearing? I don't know. What goes with orange jumpsuits?
I think blue. Blue and orange go nicely together.
What happened to stripes, by the way? Why were they stripes? Because it was unlike any other clothing?
Well,
no, but remember their clothing used to have stripes?
I know. I'm thinking maybe when they stand behind the bars, they had a shadow of stripes on them, and so they just made, I don't know.
Maybe they used it to their advantage. They studied zebras. They're like, they won't be able to pick one of us off if we're all in a herd with these stripes.
Right. Anyway, speaking of jail, there's a weird smell in the Manhattan courthouse. Multiple sources claim the foul stench is coming from former President Donald Trump, who is allegedly farting throughout his hush money criminal trial. Ben Macias, owner of Los Angeles Magazine, is claiming that Donald Trump is actually farting in the courtroom. It's very stinky around him. I'm hearing it from actual credible people that as he's falling asleep, he's farting. He's actually passing gas. His lawyers are really struggling with the smell. And I hear that the judge actually ordered a gag order. So that's how you know.
This is why the guy lit himself on fire outside the courthouse. But how reckless. The whole place could have gone up in flames.
Do you think that he was farting and he just lit his fart as a joke and he caught on fire?
I don't think so. Way more calculating.
May the record reflect, Your Honor, that Mr. Trump's counsel is stating that whoever smelt it dealt it.
Do you think his farts are waking him up? Because that was the first news on him, is how many times he'd fall asleep.
Yeah. Pull my stubby little finger. Do you think they had to use a tiny Bible to fit his hand when he's got sworn in?
Right. Yeah. He requests a smaller one. As he's like using what is it? Travel size toothpaste, travel size. He uses travel size everything.
Yeah. A 10-year-old said he killed a man when he was 7.
This story is crazy.
Leading deputies to close an unsolved murder from 2022. Texas authorities said investigators were called to the Nixon Smiley School about a boy who threatened to kill another student on the bus. The boy then told officials that he shot and killed a man 2 years ago. He provided in detail information that was consistent with firsthand knowledge of the homicide of Brandon Rasberry. Rasberry.
Okay, read the details of this 7-year-old's.
On January 18th, 2022, 32-year-old Rasberry was found dead in his trailer at Lazy K RV Park in Nixon. That's a nice one. With a gunshot wound to his head. Investigators exhausted the few leads, and his death remained unsolved. The boy told investigators he was visiting his grandfather, who lived a few lots away. He told them he took a pistol from the glove box of his grandfather's truck and entered Rasberry's RV, where he saw him sleeping in his bed. The then 7-year-old fired the pistol, striking him one time in the head before exiting the RV and returning the firearm to the glove box of the truck.
What?
By the way, the young boy is the great-grandson of the great Johnny Cash.
Is that what it is?
Remember that song, I Hung My Head?
Yeah, oh yeah.
About the boy, he's sitting on a hillside with a rifle and he just shoots a guy for no reason.
Do you know who wrote that song?
Woody Guthrie?
Sting.
No.
Swear to God.
No shit.
It's so easy to make fun of Sting, but God damn it, he's talented.
Wow.
Yeah, he wrote a great Western, Western story in that song. It's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah, guns don't kill people. 7-year-olds do, Greg.
That's right. That's right.
I was waiting eagerly. This is not a joke. I honestly was waiting eagerly for the detail where the guy had molested the 7-year-old.
Oh, no, I looked that up. I went down a rabbit hole on this story. I was obsessed. And the guy had just moved into the trailer home like 3 days before. The kid said he'd never met him before.
Your Honor, I was a child then. It was almost half a lifetime ago. I mean, he's 10 now.
I love when I step on your joke. I cut you off to step on your whole premise before you get to the punchline.
Why? What do you mean? What happened?
Oh, I thought you. Well, the idea that he was molested when I just.
Oh,
said
no.
Yeah.
I was bringing that up. That wasn't a joke.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, I hate to say it, video games, water pistols. It doesn't seem real to them.
Maybe, yeah. Meanwhile, this poor guy was just doing what he moved there for. It's called the Lazy KRV. You'd think he could nap in the middle of the day in peace without a 7-year-old shooting him in the head.
You're right.
But this is what I do want to talk about. So this guy is shot in the head. A few doors down, there's a truck with a gun in it, and there's a gun owner down there. And no forensics is done. Like, in other words, they're not looking locally there. And I figured out it's Texas, so they probably checked his neighbor's guns, but after 4 trailers, they probably checked 35 guns, and they stopped before getting a few doors down. That's all I could figure out.
Yeah, well, they say that there are now 2 guns for every person in the United States of America, and in Texas, it's probably a dozen per person.
And yeah, I mean, so many people have over a dozen.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I hadn't even shot a gun in my life until about a year ago.
Oh, yeah?
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, I've shot a lot of guns, but I've never owned. My family owned one in Carmel, but that was later. We were all.
Did you ever
grown up.
shoot an animal?
Other than birds?
You shot birds?
Oh, there's a story with Jeff, my stepbrother. We had a BB gun. We were doing betting and target practice and all that type of stuff, bottles. And so we were, and this is kind of in the country. And so then a bird landed. It's terrible because it was near a bird feeder. Anyway, bird landed and Jeff's like, take out the bird. And I'm like, what? And he was like, take out the bird. I'm like, and I was like, it's coming for the feeder. Like, this isn't like wild. Like we see one, a long shot, literally and figuratively in a tree. So I draw it, I get it in the sights, and I'm like, and he goes, what? Then give it to me. I'll do it. I'm like, fuck that. So I shoot it. Got it. And Jeff's like, you're disgusting.
Did it die instantly?
Oh, yeah. Walks back in the house. I'm like, what the fuck? Because we had BB guns. We had a 22, but then, there was a shotgun at some point. I went deer hunting once, but I was preoccupied maybe more than once, preoccupied the whole time with not getting shot by another hunter.
Right.
You have all your orange gear, all of this stuff. And because when you're out there, you realize you're desperate to see movement and to shoot a deer.
Right.
Hunters get shot all the time. My favorite teacher in Ann Hutch Grammar School was killed in a hunting accident.
No shit.
Yeah.
Dick Cheney?
Laura still tears up about it. Yeah, Mr. Ruggiero. He was the best. Yep.
Jesus Christ. Was he tall?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Didn't even seem like a hunter. Nicest guy.
Yeah. Speaking of nice guys, let's go to entertainment.
You got it, pal. Where's the sheet? Where's the hot sheet? Yes.
Some artists long to hang their works on the walls of a prestigious museum, though few take it
sellouts do.
If the few take it into their own hands, like one aspiring creative did this year. Details have just come to light about an art technician who installed one of his own works at the Pinakothek der Modern Museum in Munich, displaying his piece alongside art by big names such as Andy Warhol. The employee considers himself as an artist and most likely saw his role in the museum's installation team as a day job to support his true calling, a spokesperson for the museum said. This is to me the equivalent of a heckler trying to get laughs during a comedy show. It's just an amateur going, I can do this.
Was his true calling to become a criminal? Is that what was happening? Is that what he was building to?
Yeah. But
yeah.
This is literally the definition of art. If they take this down, this museum is full of shit. Art is about challenging people's perception of what art actually is. I mean, most of it is nonsensical, obtuse, pretentious bullshit, and they should fucking leave it up as an installation.
However, his piece was so bad that no lesbians threw paint on it, protesting climate change.
Yeah.
Untouched.
Yeah.
The only
that's
one.
how you know. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And the reason it stayed up so long, they don't detail this, is it wasn't noticed because he did his painting was an exact replica of an exit sign. That doesn't seem ballsy to me.
Yeah, I think Warhol's is an exit sign to me. When I see that, I go, all right, it's time to go. This is over.
Banksy has done that, though, and other artists, I think, have. They've gone in and they've surreptitiously hung their own art.
Yeah.
And it has remained for, like, long periods of time, I believe.
Yeah. You going to stop a guy from playing his guitar outside of the Wilbur Theater in Boston?
That's a good example.
Let's go to Florida.
Time to go. That is good paper. I got to remember where I got that paper. Okay, Florida man. I love it. Just my day is easy when I look for a Florida man story and this headline pops up. Florida man cracks open beer after allegedly firing gun near officers. Quote, I want to drink this beer. Is that cool?
That's all you need. Do you need an article after that?
The Port Orange Police Department said it received a call about a person being threatened with a firearm by a neighbor. After officers arrived, they said Brett McPeak allegedly fired a gun near them and several neighbors who were outside at the time. Officers moved toward the sound of the gunshots and found McPeak outside the front of his home with 2 beers in his hands.
Maybe he should take a McPeak at whether or not there's people on the fucking porch next door to him.
Body camera video shows an officer with his gun drawn talking to McPeak. Do you have a firearm on you? The officer asked. No, sir, McPeak replied. This beer is cold, sir. I want to drink it. McPeak told the officer. Come check me. I want to drink this beer. Is that cool? I haven't done nothing wrong. Come check me. Hurry, it's
Come on,
getting warm.
man. This is Florida. A man can't sit on his porch, drink 16 beers, and shoot a gun towards his neighbors. What's next? You guys can't snort meth from the evidence drawer and frame black teenagers? This is Florida.
Oh, my God. Do you have a firearm on you? Well, I'm going to shotgun his... Shouldn't have said shotgun. Oh, my God. When he gets to court and the judge asks if he feels any remorse, well... I wish I hadn't wasted ice on those beers. I'll tell you that. And I have learned my lesson. Next time, drink the beer first, then shoot at Clem and Becky next door.
I don't know, man. The Florida man, he's living his life. What are we doing? I'm worried about my health insurance. This guy doesn't have health insurance. I'm worried about brushing my teeth. This guy never worries about that. Just live, drink beer, and shoot. Fuck it.
And this is exactly a perfect example of how I know I would never be a good cop. Because I'd be like, let's say you were my partner. I'd be like, let's let him finish the beer. Like once we had contained the situation, he's telling us the truth. God, he's calling us sir.
Right.
Let him drink his cold beers. He's not going to have one for a while.
Ain't no one called us sir since the pandemic.
Yeah.
What about Texas, Mike?
Let's
Is
make
Texas
it Florida. Here
becoming
we go.
Florida?
All right. We got North Texas man suing Cinemark over drink size. The class action lawsuit was filed on Wednesday by Shane Waldrop, who claims that Cinemark is selling drink containers that are labeled as 24 ounces, but they only hold 22 ounces.
Oh.
Yeah, that old trick. The lawsuit, maybe he's squeezing it a little tight. The lawsuit was filed at the U.S. District Court and says the alleged claim amounts to, quote, deceptive and otherwise improper business practices. And this guy wants a trial by jury. Do we really need a jury? Isn't this pretty easy to figure out? Let's measure it. How about that?
Yeah. Meanwhile, no complaints that movies used to be like 3.5 hours long. Now they're about an hour and 15 minutes. How about that?
Yeah. Also, Your Honor, the popcorn buckets are too big. Makes my pecker seem small when I pop a hole in the bottom.
What was that? Porky's? What movie was that?
Well, they just did a famous, the popcorn trick.
Wait, what movie was that? Was it?
I don't know. Porky's had another hole, which a Willie went through.
No, then it wasn't Porky's. It was.
Oh my God! Wait a minute. Was it in the really good movie in Baltimore?
The Bachelor Party, or no, the one about where the guy's getting married and his wife has to answer sports trivia.
Yeah, and all the albums, his organization of albums.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What is that?
With Paul Reiser. Paul Reiser was in it. Diner.
Yeah.
I think it was in Diner. Yeah.
Yeah, Diner's a pretty good one.
So this guy wants all 24 ounces. So he lodged his complaint, and then on the way out of the courthouse, he got lodged in a narrow doorway. All right.
No,
Not a
sorry.
great joke. It's all right.
I was looking at Diner because I remember, I think it might have been Barry Levinson's first movie. But anyway, Barry Levinson was the director of that.
Great movie. It's one of those ones I got to put on the list of movies to show my kids because they're not in the zeitgeist of young people.
Right. Yeah. All right, here we go. We're moving on. Sports. So sports don't really have a story here except I hadn't watched this documentary on the Patriots. First of all, I hate the Patriots, but I'm working on this Tom Brady roast, and a lot of the people that I'm now talking, like I'm having conversations. Oh, I can't mention names, but with teammates of his, and so it helps to know. So anyway, I finally started. It's called Dynasty. It's on Apple TV. I can't recommend this enough. And just remember my context here. I delayed it. I didn't even start watching it when I was working on this. I didn't even start watching it till after I Zoomed with Tom Brady the other week. And so I was reluctant going in, and it's Imagine Entertainment. So it's Ron Howard and his partner, whose name I'll get in a second.
Glazer?
Yeah, Ron Glazer. And they know how to tell a story, man. And it is not sports. It is drama. It's in episode 3, I completely got choked up.
Really?
Yeah. And by the way, then it turns into a true murder documentary. They take a deep dive on Aaron Hernandez.
No shit.
No, everyone tells me it hasn't even started.
All right, I'm in.
But the lead to their first Super Bowl and what goes on with Drew Bledsoe, which I really didn't know I knew the broad strokes. I did not know what a solid human being that guy was. And yeah,
he was so beloved. He was so beloved. Bill Burr always talks about him. But basically he got injured and Brady stepped up, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's
and then
right.
took him to the Super Bowl.
And then he was fine to play. He came back and they're like, nope, we're sticking with Tom,
right?
Who wasn't really shining at all.
Well, don't forget he didn't really shine at Michigan. He didn't even start for the first couple years or 3 years at Michigan, I think.
Right.
So I don't know
he went 199th in the draft.
Right.
And it was sort of an afterthought.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. All right, I'm all over that. I need a new show.
Oh, no,
I need a new show.
By the way, wait, hold on. Watch it with Aaron. It doesn't matter at all if you are interested in sports. It's drama.
It's just like watching the Patriots. Doesn't matter if you're interested in sports.
The cheating, which they'll get into.
Let's get to international.
Okay, then.
Mexican kingpin Joaquin Archivaldo El Chapo Guzman, Liara,
El Chapo,
had his request for phone calls and visits with his young daughters denied by a federal judge. The court had previously authorized 2 telephone calls per month. Can I get that? He said he hasn't had calls with his daughters for 7 months, and lawyers have decided to, quote, have decided to punish me by not letting me talk to my daughters. Yeah, that's kind of how prison works. You get punished. You kill hundreds of people, and then you don't get to talk on the phone whenever you want. I know, it hurts and it seems unfair, Chapo. Talk to the families of the people that you fucking gave Colombian neckties to, you animal. He asked the judge to let his wife, Emma Colonel, her middle name is Colonel, Diaspora visit. Colonel, a former beauty queen. By the way, I looked up pictures of her. Not sure who was running that contest. And she's a dual U.S.-Mexico citizen. She was sentenced to 36 months for helping run his multi-million-dollar drug cartel. What the fuck? 33 years? That's it?
She probably coughed him up.
Yeah, I bet that's what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe they can have this guy bunk with the Boston Marathon bomber.
Yeah. Or all of a sudden it's like, what is a 10-year-old doing in my jail cell? Oh, he killed a guy who was sleeping.
Why don't we just call
I'd
this
sleep
podcast...
with one eye open, El Chapo.
Why don't we call this podcast the crime blotter? That's all it is. Just people going to jail. The Florida man's going to jail.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. What's news, man? You think good news is news?
If they really want to punish this guy, they should give that wife, Colonel, give her an 8-ball of coke, have her snort it, and then lock him in a prison cell with her while she talks for 90 minutes straight. In Spanish, by the way.
Not
so crazy.
Not easy on the ears either.
When I was in Mexico, which, by the way, it is such a beautiful country, but I was blown away. My Owen and all of his friends, because a lot of them, some are from Spanish-speaking homes, and some of them went through that whole Spanish dual immersion program in Santa Monica schools. All of them fluent in Spanish, and we would go to a restaurant, and the waiter would take the order, and they would each order in Spanish, and it was back and forth, questions, conversation, and just fluent. I was so fucking blown away by it. It was so cool.
And then you're like, burrito, please.
Yeah, I know. I was pretty embarrassed. I don't speak any Spanish.
You should be more ashamed than I, but it's pretty damn close. I mean, I took high school Spanish. You know, when I'm in, like, you know, I did a job in Mexico, so I was there for, I think it was like 3, maybe it was 2 straight weeks. And even by the second week, I'm throwing my Spanglish around, you know, like
really?
I'm trying, you know, like at least I've learned the words that I use the most. You know, as you know, my rule is the first word I learn, no matter what country I go to, is sorry.
Right.
Scusi. Scusi is the best word ever. It's almost the only word I need in Italy.
Yeah.
Scusi is like, can I get your attention? Scusi's sorry. Scusi's everything.
I think that people that have listened to this podcast for a while are going to have no trouble believing that we would go to another country where we don't speak the language and just do it anyway. And just fucking wing it. Like when I go to Montreal, I studied French all through high school and in college, and I can't speak for shit. But I go to Montreal and I talk to everybody. I actually find it easier to speak with Quebec French than people in France.
Interesting.
Well,
That's
mostly
because your French is so fucked.
It's fucked, and people in France don't want to talk to an American. You try to talk French, and they immediately answer you in English, which is just like saying, fuck you.
I think I told you, the guy from the Palisades, friend of mine, couldn't be a whiter guy ever, from here, born here, and he speaks a little bit of French from high school, but and you could tell, he's like, as you'd imagine, I have the worst accent ever, and it's abysmal. He goes over there with a mom in our school who's from Montreal. When they would both try to speak, like if they were in a bakery or a market or whatever, they detested her more than him.
Really?
Yeah, and then when I've told that to French people, they're like, "Oh yeah, oh no." Like at least he has an excuse. The Canadian French accent is abhorrent to them.
No, I heard a guy, there's a new French movie that's out that's actually supposed to be pretty good. It's like a spy thriller. But on NPR, they were doing a review, and the movie reviewer said that that it's Quebec French, and he said it's so appalling to me, I can't even review this movie. It's all pidgin. It's really, it's very unpleasant to listen to.
It's so weird because we have so many incredible. I mean, listen, we lived in Boston, and there's New Orleans, there's the Southern accent, there's Minnesota. We have so many, and to like get bothered, like truly bothered, is so weird to me. And of course, never mind any foreign-speaking person who's trying to speak English here in America. Everybody is charmed by it.
All right, top favorite foreign accent, least favorite foreign accent, favorite domestic accent, least favorite domestic accent.
Oh, well, I love Kazakhstan. My wife.
Sister, she's #1 prostitute in all of Kazakhstan.
I love so many foreign accents. Are you kidding me? Listen, as much as we're pounding on them in this story, I love French accents. I love Spanish accents. I don't really know what a Portuguese accent. I imagine it's similar. I mean, Italian. Are you kidding me?
Italian is probably my favorite. I think Italian takes it for me.
But the two wild and crazy Czech brothers, like that accent is amazing. They're all great, honestly.
All right, least favorite foreign accent.
It's so dominated by my least foreign domestic accent that I'm just going to, for both of them, I'm going to say Philadelphia. Fuck them.
Yeah, no, I think Pittsburgh's worse than Baltimore is worse than Philadelphia.
I think Philadelphia is the ugliest. I don't understand it. And obviously I could read on it because I've read a lot, based even in Confederacy of Dunces. They talked about the New England accent and how similar it is down in New Orleans, with the R's.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Right.
Right. But then also, I've even read a lot of ink has been spilled on like the Southern accent and how British that actually is. Like it's very fascinating. Haven't read a fucking thing about what happened to Philly.
Mm. Well, listen, we're gonna get some letters about that, but let's read some past letters right now. Letters to the editor. E-Dub, not Dennis Gubbins, which is G-Dub, which is G-Gub. This is E-Dub. Says, always love your show, and will definitely watch any episode you're on. Corolla, Harland, etc. Just wish you and Gibbons could do an in-studio show regularly together. This epidemic called, it wants its whole Zoom-style meeting interview shitcast back. I'll take my answer off the air. You don't need to respond to all us douches. No, I want to respond to this because honestly, I think it's time. I think it's time we go to my brand new green screen studio, come up with a really cool look, and take this fucking thing international. You're not even listening.
What's international mean?
I don't know. I want to go big. I want this podcast to go big.
You want me to drive to Robertson Boulevard? Yep. To do this podcast?
That's right.
I'm not sure about that many things. I'm pretty certain that's never going to happen. I got my bunker. What do you mean?
The other thing we could do is go to my old office.
Sneak in?
Still have the keys, and it's going to be around until October. And
the lights are still on there?
Lights are still on. Internet's still working. We could go in there and film it.
Let's do it in a convertible and then email St. Louis all week about how they're going to clean up the audio.
All right,
from
Adam,
the wind noise.
The airplanes landing across the street.
Yeah.
Adam says, please, for the love of all that is good, never let Mike read a horoscope or speak about astrology ever again. I don't need to explain why. I think it's understood. Appreciate it. Adam.
We're Aries, man. We're in our moment right now. Well,
Fire sign.
We're on the cusp, I guess, today. We're on the cusp.
I think we were on the cusp of losing 2/3 of our audience when you started going. I mean, you didn't gloss over it. You went fucking deep into the astrological side.
I didn't write it.
Yeah, but you didn't have to read the whole chapter.
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, that was a show we were recording 2 weeks in advance.
You were trying to kill time?
No, I wanted something that stands the test of time, that is just truth down to its core.
Yeah.
I read a funny, it's probably the oldest joke in the book, but I read this thing like, if astrology is not accurate, then how come all Aries are born around the same time?
Brian G says, just wanted to take a minute to point out that Mike pumped the stocks XLE, ET, and PAA after what was probably the last trading day before you recorded, March 28th. All three went through the roof for a couple days, then immediately started to collapse. The last trading before the podcast was released where he gave out the picks. If Mike was smart enough to dump his position that week, he might have made some killer money. If not, the pick went out, and we could all see that the floor was dropping out of these busts. I find it likely that Mike was the only one who lost money on that hot tip. Yeah, I don't think anybody listens to your tips anymore.
I know. Most people would accuse me of a pump and dump.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. Other people will make money on it and dump it, and I'll be left holding the empty bag. I will say that, no, I don't understand these stocks. The guy who told me, who knows so much about this, which doesn't mean he won't, can avoid losers, but he's like, so when it started dropping, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, pal. Because he's always talking about the P&E ratios and how this is unsustainable, and the market is so inflated right now that it's like so overdue for a correction, like an accurate correction. So, and he loves these. So I'm like, hey, does this just move in lockstep with the market? Because then the market started to go down where this guy's talking about. And these went down. And he goes, no, I love them. Anyway, what I will tell you is yesterday they went up 1.2%, 1.55%, and 1.41% just in a day. And I think that's because Israel started bombing Iran. They'll do very well, I'm told, if shit goes south in the Mideast. That's not why I bought them, by the way. But I'm told they will do very well if there's a disruption in the supply.
All right. Well, I don't know if you mentioned that, but maybe let's hope that the world goes to shit, but then some people make a couple of bucks on a stock.
Yeah.
Koozies. Let's talk about the koozies.
I don't even know if it's merch. Is merch?
It's a section. Merchandise.
Is this the classifieds?
We don't have coffee mugs anymore. We don't have what else have we sold? Was it just coffee mugs and?
I got a couple of coffee mugs up there on the shelf.
Oh.
Yeah, we should sign those. No koozies. Listen, I think there's a handful. We could always order more, but this is why we're bringing it up. Let me know. There's a guy in Canada. We don't know how to get it to Canada. I just going to be honest with you. I don't think it's worth it. We can tell you, maybe you could order one from the website we got them from. But I guess we could send it to Canada and lose money.
No, we're not
on the
doing
deal.
Canada. We should have announced that when we did it. We're not doing Canada. It costs like $12 to send a $10 koozie.
It's also pretty cool up there most of the year. You don't need a koozie.
Yeah. Unless you're in Florida. If you're shooting guns off on your porch in Florida, we will send you koozies because we know you like to keep it cold down there.
But a couple of people someone out last week, a couple of people, listen, they get chewed up in the mail. But that means I send you another one. So I don't want to leave anyone having paid us and not received it.
Speaking of getting paid, when am I getting the money for the koozies?
Oh, yes, that. I don't know how Venmo works. Should I say this out loud? I plan on not letting anybody else in. I'm just going to word it that way. I'm not going to let anybody else in on our cut, Greg.
Okay.
I don't know. Using Venmo, Is that doable? Is that people I think know what I'm referring to? Can I cut out any of the people with their hands out?
Why don't you just mail me a check the way I just mailed you a check for all of our advertising yesterday?
Well, no, yours is very official. And you tell other people about that check.
Oh, I see. Well, give me cash. Just give me some fucking cash.
I don't know. Cursing's unnecessary. A little intense. Here we go. Obits.
Obits.
And that's all, folks.
But it's sitting there. It's sitting there. Maybe. Dickie Betts, people, listeners of the podcast know that Allman Brothers hold a special place in my heart. And so Dickie Betts, American guitarist, singer, songwriter, and composer, he's best known as a founding member of the Allman Brothers Band. Early in his career, he collaborated with Duane Allman, introducing melodic twin guitar harmony and counterpoint, which, quote, rewrote the rules of how two rock guitarists can work together, completely scrapping the traditional rhythm lead roles to stand toe-to-toe. Following Allman's death in 71, Duane Allman's death in 71, Betts assumed sole lead guitar duties during the peak of the group's commercial success in the mid-70s. Betts was the writer and singer on the Allmans' hit single Ramblin' Man. He also gained renown for composing instrumentals, with one appearing on most of the group's albums, including In Memory of Elizabeth Reed and Jessica. I mean, he's on Blue Sky. Anyway, Duane also collaborated. I grabbed this quote because I thought it was interesting. It was about Duane Allman, that's sort of my hero in the whole equation. But Duane also collaborated with Eric Clapton
on Layla.
Yeah, and but Duane said, "I'm the famous guitar player, but Dickie's the good one."
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, and after Duane died, that's really when he stepped up, and and they really found this new direction with Betts. And so, I mean, he's great.
He's great, and I mean, it really is like watching him. He was a picker. I mean, that guy. It's phenomenal how many notes that guy can play without fucking up. It's just like, watching any great guitar player, but especially him, because it's standard blues guitar, and a lot of the progressions are blues progressions, but then he just fucking keeps going with the just clear, perfect fucking notes.
Yep. And the pressure was on when Duane died, and so very, very soon after he wrote Jessica, it was about his daughter, and it was an attempt to write a song that could be played with just two fingers in honor of gypsy jazz guitarist Django Reinhardt, who played with two left fingers due to severe burns. Betts crafted the main melody of the song, but became frustrated with its... Anyway, they talk about the process of writing Jessica. But I mean, listen, just do yourself a favor today. Just go to Eat a Peach, man, and just listen to that album. Listen to One Way Out. I played so loudly. It was absolutely pinned to the top. Went to 11 in my car this week. And to hear those two guitars, it's like... I know I'm overstating this, but it's like that scene from Shawshank when he's hearing the two voices and he's just like, I don't even know it was just so beautiful. Yeah. And you hear these two guitars and the build of and so many of these Allman Brothers songs, you're like, you hear this build and you hear them like coming in and out, but it's these two like animals just waiting to start howling, and it's the most incredible energy. It really
they were like the original jam band. I mean, the Grateful Dead and the Allman Brothers were the first two bands to really take blues and jazz and do live shows that were different every time, that had guitar players feeding off of each other. And Eat a Peach, by the way, it's such an incredible album that was not finished. I think, didn't Duane Allman die while they were recording Eat a Peach? And that's why, I think that's why half the songs are live tracks, because they filled in the songs they hadn't gotten around to recording yet.
But it's just, and Duane had just all of a sudden holed up like he does. Like, he got Slide based on guitar Greg gave him in Los Angeles with Taj Mahal, and he became obsessed with Slide, and then just just with crazy focus. And then another thing that was happening at that time was he found Coltrane.
Right.
And that changed everything. And so then Dickie and Dwayne were emulating and just aspiring to be as good as these jazz greats, and the way they would trade off riffs and follow each other. So anyway, enough said, but Dickie was great. There's only one remaining Allman, from the founding group, and I'm just spacing on his name. But anyway, what a chapter that's closing there.
Yeah. Well, let's cheer up.
You got it. Funnies.
Okay, so this guy, G-Dub, same guy. He's writing a lot lately. Oh, no, is that different guy? Oh, this is G-Dub. The other guy was named E.
I think they're all Gubbins.
The other guy was E-Dub, and now this guy is G-Dub.
Huh. Can't wait till H-Dub.
He says, okay, you guys have been driving me crazy for years on Sunday Papers, so do this one quick exercise, please.
All right, let's do it.
Pronounce the name Sammy Hagar. Say it
Sammy
again.
Hagar.
Sammy Hagar. Now just say the last name, Hagar. Now say the horrible.
The horrible Hagar.
Hagar the horrible. Isn't that how it goes?
It doesn't work. This doesn't work.
All right, so we get to him. He is standing outside a castle. There's a woman with very long yellow hair, and Hagar is bent forward,
Rapunzel,
bowing. She goes, how can I ever repay you for rescuing me from the tower? And Hagar says, funny you should ask, Rapunzel. And then he wraps her hair around her neck, and the entire army has their way with her. Oh, wait. No, that's what would happen in real life. What really happened is she then climbed back up, and all the troops climbed up her hair to rob the castle and steal the queen.
They all climbed up and mounted her, I think, is what I'm seeing in the drawing.
I mean, look, it's medieval times. Speaking of medieval times, the Lockhorns are in their living room. He's watching TV and pointing. She's got her arms crossed. She is cross, standing right over his shoulder. And he says, this could be disastrous. They've given a hurricane your mother's name.
They're jokes.
Fucking great. And the next one, I always like to have point counterpoint. I always like to get one where she's slamming him. So he's getting up off the couch. He looks like he's struggling. And she goes, lift off. We have lift off.
All right, someone. By the way, I'm a man of the people and very in touch with the YouTube listeners, and I'm hearing a lot about Calvin and Hobbes, and I need to be schooled on it. Apparently,
well, John Bohan wrote this. I'm not sure who's telling you to read Calvin and Hobbes because it's hilarious. That's not why you read it. You should read it because it's both poignant and timeless. It's heartfelt and incredibly subversive. Bill Watterson changed the entire medium of the daily comic, and he never once licensed the material, fool.
What does that mean?
In other words, that little boy you see pissing is a knockoff. So he's not making any money off of the little Calvin pissing thing. Why don't you make fun of BC or the lazy fuck Beetle Bailey? We used to make fun of Beetle Bailey because of, I think the theme on that was they were don't ask, don't tell, and that they were both obviously gay.
Oh.
Stick to the low-hanging fruit. Wow.
Ooh. Well, here we go. So what I've decided to do, and people have a lot of problems with this, is I found an article that said the 15 funniest Calvin and Hobbes. I have to, and I've already admitted this, I barely knew which one was which. I don't know the conceit. Someone even said, Mike probably doesn't know the conceit. And I said, I'm guessing it's like that this is an imaginary friend, kind of like the Toy Story thing, like that they come to life when Calvin gets home, right?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about it?
I believe that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Sort of like my girlfriend. I think it's one of those scenarios. It's an old structure that's used.
Wait a minute. Is this the best 15 or the funniest 15?
Oh, Calvin and Hobbes. I have it here. Calvin and Hobbes 15 best Calvin and Hobbes
Okay,
comic
so best.
strips
They're
of
not
all
saying
time.
funny. You just said funniest. This guy's saying best.
Solid point, I think. Okay, here we go. Let me make this a little bigger. All right. So first picture, the two of them are walking together. And Calvin's like, if you could wish for anything, what would it be? And Hobbes goes, a big sunny field to be in. And then Calvin seems very upset. And he's like, a stupid field? You've got that now. Think big, riches, power. Pretend you could have anything. And then Hobbes is now like kind of rubbing his back on the ground like little dogs and cats do. And he's like, actually, and Hobbes says this, actually, it's hard to argue with someone who looks so happy. Oh, no, sorry. Calvin is saying this looking at him. Actually, it's hard to argue with someone who looks so happy. And you see a little Z there, like he's maybe napping and dozing in the grass.
Yeah.
So, yeah, genius. Oh, boy, am I pissing people off now. No. Listen, I'm going to be open to this. I like our listeners. Too many of them are saying there's poignant things about this, as you can see. Listen, if someone said, hey, here's the 5 best Far Sides, I'd be furious probably with all 5 saying, no, that one needed context. There's a funnier one than that. That was one in a series. Like, I get it. I do get it. But this one, I don't get.
It's very sweet, but if that's the top 15, I don't know. I think it's cumulative. I think if you read it every day, you start to develop an affection for these two characters. And it is like Peanuts. Peanuts are not always laugh out loud funny. Sometimes they're just, they're poignant and they're sweet. And I've always enjoyed them for that reason. Calvin and Hobbes, not as much. But you know what? It got my kids into reading. It was the first thing my kids read. It was the first time they picked up a book and read. So I owe them that.
And as far as poignant, I mean, I guess this is kind of like that, American Businessman or whatever. It's probably an older story than that. And the fisherman, like, why don't you get more boats? Why don't you grow your business? And he's like, why? Because then you could just, relax and, and he's like, I'm already doing that.
Yep. You know who else is relaxing?
Aristotle probably had an example of that. What?
You know who else is relaxing? Fucking
I bet
dummy,
I know.
Dummy Dagwood. He's got this chair with an ottoman. You got to earn an ottoman, Dagwood. You don't show up as a low-level manager, disappoint your boss, and then come home and tell your wife you didn't get a raise again, and then think you deserve a fucking ottoman. You deserve, if lucky, an upholstered chair. So he's sitting back, hands in his pocket in the chair, watching TV. I really need to get more exercise. And she goes, I'm glad you mentioned that. There's something I've been putting off for way too long. And in the final frame, he's carrying a desk down the stairs. And she goes, I really need to decide where that looks best. All right, here's the thing, Dagwood. You want to burn some calories? How about the hot blonde who's 3 feet to your left reading a newspaper? How about a curvaceous, her core is tight. Her body, she is a piece of exercise equipment. You could be sweating, pounding. That's your exercise.
Yeah. Put her on the table.
Yeah. Put her up on the table. Didn't you see Postman always rings twice?
Could we ask AI, tell AI, here's Dagwood and Blondie are sitting at home. Dagwood's complaining about his work. Blondie's reading the paper. And then Hagar, the horrible, busts in and has his way with Blondie in front of, and cucks. Does AI know what to do with the word cucks, Dagwood? I bet they could do it.
I think then Helga, Hagar's
AI
wife,
identifies as they.
Hagar's wife Helga then comes in and sits on Dagwood's face. I like that.
Okay.
Giving him all kinds of medieval gonorrhea.
Yeah. And then,
all right,
and then everyone has sex with Calvin. Wait, no.
Oh, come on.
Beloved.
Now we're definitely off the algorithm.
Beloved Calvin.
Our algorithm is so fucked. Listen, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time.
Yes.
Download the app. Use code PAPERS to get $20 off your first purchase.
Sure,
We also want to thank Mid-Coast Media, Chris Denman, for hanging out with us today. I think he's still hanging out with us. I haven't heard from him in a minute, but
how's your blinking recorder?
I remember it has blinked in the past. It has now, it's still blinking. Still blinking.
Do not lose this Zoom recording. That might be your only audio.
Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for listening, and look forward to the roast. It's recording on May 5th.
Oh, it's not for a while, but yeah.
If you want
May
tickets
5th.
to see it live, you can get them at jeffross.com.
Game time.
Game time. I don't know how you get them, but go find it. It's a 15,000 seat theater. I'm sure there's some seats left.
Theater. Yes. It's an arena, man. The man in the arena. Yeah, watch Dynasty. You'll thank me. I hate the Patriots, and I'm loving it.
Okay. All right.
Everybody, take it easy.
Take it easy.
Yeah?
Read all about it. Read all about it. Read all about it. Read all about it. Sunday papers. Sunday papers.
Got it.